We now see the Tigers probably stepping up for more than just 2 All-Stars into more, huh?
Absolutely. So prior to this weekend, remember, I don't throw the word lock around like it's and or the. I had 2 Tigers All-Star locks before this weekend. They were Tarek Skubal, of course, and Gleyber Torres. However, after this weekend, after a series in which the Tigers did drop 2 or 3, but they got the 1, which is fine, I now am adding 2 more to my locks list, and they are Riley Green and Tommy Kahnle. I think you can lock them in for the 2025 All-Star team. And Riley Green, I'll tell you what, even though the Tigers as a team lost the series, Riley Green may have had the greatest series I've ever seen him play. 2 home runs in Game 1, 3 of 3 with a walk. Game 3, he was 3 of 4 with a couple of doubles, set the table. And during this weekend made, I believe, 4 damn good catches in left field as well. He played like a superstar. And Riley Green, just to give you a couple of numbers and rankings in terms of the American League, if you've got that one, JV.
Yep.
Riley Green now is tied for 5th in the American League in home runs, 3rd in RBIs, 4th in slugging percentage, 8th in OPS, and he's tied for 3rd in doubles. Riley Green is 100,000% an all-star lock, and he has been, without a shadow of a doubt, a top 10 player in the American League. Top 10, not 10, creeping towards top 5.
Flannel, thanks.
Yes.
Welcome to the party, dude.
He already should have been on this.
You wearing the damn jersey every day. Now you just coming to the party?
I told him,
you should be ashamed of yourself.
No, I said lock, Terry.
She was already a lock.
Fine.
He made it last year.
Cavassier said, I said it. JP said it. You said it.
He's top 10. He was already in, dude. Welcome to the party. Thank you.
Fine.
Congrats.
Hey,
I've noticed he's been.
Let's bake this brother some cookies over here. He finally figured stuff out.
And you know what? I've seen him this year. He's been tough on himself with this Riley Green fandom. But it just continues to just come up gold and 777s for him. You know, all of a sudden now he's winding up with a Riley Green jersey. Now all of a sudden Riley Green has surprised him. He's an all-star now. I see what you're doing over there, Flannel Sam.
Hey, his numbers, even, but that's the thing. His numbers have taken a big leap even from what he did over the weekend. And yeah. Terry, I figured he would be an all-star. I predicted that he would be an all-star. I just didn't want to use the word lock quite yet, but now I will. If you want to say I'm late to the party, fine, but I'm willing to lock it in. Riley Green is an all-star and most likely an all-star starter. Now let me get to Tommy Kahnle, because I think he is another lock, and you cannot express how important he's been to this Tigers team, but all-star isn't about how important you've been to your team. It's about how great you've been. And Tommy Kahnle this season has a 1.35 ERA, a .75 whip, walks plus hits per innings pitched, 8 saves and 10 holds. The dude has been absolutely dominant. He's a guy that Scott Harris brought in the offseason that I was super excited about. I didn't foresee this. This is the best season of his career up to this point, and just think of how important he's been to this Tigers bullpen. Sean Gunther last season was a big part. This season, regressed AAA. Jason Foley was a big part of last season, out for this season. Bo Brisky was a big part of last season's success for the Tigers. This season, regressed AAA. Tyler Holton was one of the best relief pitchers in all of baseball last year. This year, he's had a big regression. Brennan Hanafy has regressed this season to last year. We didn't realize how important Tommy Kahnle actually was to this Tigers team. And the fact that he has been so dominant and he's been an all-star level relief pitcher, that's one of the reasons the Tigers are where they are, where they have the best record in the American League, where they still have a big division lead over the Cleveland Guardians. All-star that man, Tommy Kahnle.
Hey, Cartier says all-star aura. I like that one, man. But Sean Harchu, I see, he says Torres is like the glue right now.
Yep.
But when you're talking about Riley Green, this is a guy who, you said it best. He's not a guy that's plateauing. He's not a guy that's just kind of resting on his laurels. This is a guy that's still finding ways to get better as a player overall, which to me is really the greatest strength here. His ability to mash through the slumps, mash through any of the noise, mash through any adversity, and just at the end of the day, be not just a consistent player for the Tigers, but a star player for the Tigers. And I do believe that superstar is in Riley Green's future as he continues to improve as a player. I really do. What I like with this Tigers team right now is the fact that when we go through this exercise, I believe at the end of the day, we're going to see the Tigers with 5 or 6 All-Stars. And it's going to be guys that fair. If you want to see these guys prove a little bit more, we understand how media does things. We understand how the narratives go. We understand the guys that have had claims to some of these All-Star spots for years and some of our guys who are just now starting to percolate. But I do believe that we're going to see that this squad is one that was so meticulously put together, but not just that. It's the character of these players that I like, too. Some of the guys that we're talking about, like a Torque. This isn't one in which we go and we say, you know what, Scott Harris got it right. Obviously, him giving the patience and the time to a guy like Torque to get it right, you're always going to tip the cap to the GM for the patience and saying, I think that there's something there we can do to help him. But when I see out of someone like a Torque is where I'm even that much more excited about a guy who we know how we hold on to our players here in Detroit. So it's like, shout out to players like that who are also starting to put themselves on the All-Star map.
Well, and speaking of that, I've got them for 4 locks right now. I do have the Tigers, though, having 5 All-Stars. Ooh. And I think it comes down to, in these next few weeks, it's one of these 3. It's either Torque, it's Javi Baez, or it's Dylan Dingler.
Can we do that poll?
Yes. Hey,
Which one of those
that's actually a good poll, JV. Who do you think will be their 5th All-Star? Will it be Javi Baez, will it be Spencer Torkelson, or will it be Dylan Dingler? And to be honest, my bet right now is actually Javi Baez.
What? Wow.
Yes. And
your answers this morning.
I know a lot of people are going to be like, what? But honestly, Javi Baez has deserved it this year with how he's played. And there's one key stat that really separates Javi from both Torque and Dingler, and that is none other than one of my favorite stats and a lot of people's not favorite stat, wins above replacement. Javi's is a whole 1 game above both Dingler and Torque. Javi's is 2.3, Torque's is 1.1, and Dingler's is 1.4. Wow. Javi, though, the only thing about Javi I will say is that he's also prone to slumping. But then again, Dingler's kind of in a slump right now. Torque's kind of in a slump right now, although they both got a couple of big hits yesterday. I would still bet Javi Baez is the Tigers' 5th All-Star and that Dingler and Torque are on the outside looking in. I might be wrong. Hopefully a couple of them can get on a tear and 2 of them get in, but my vote is Javi Baez is the Tigers' 5th All-Star.
Well,
as we stand
not
today.
Laughing at you. Here's the other thing Javi Baez has. He's got more clout in the league. He's got more profile in the league than Torkelson and Dingler. So I'm not saying decisions are made off of popularity, but they're made sometimes by familiarity. And so Javi Baez has that where the other guys do not have that. So I think that's a good choice.
Now, Javi Baez does have a lot of clout in this league. People forget how highly thought of he was back in his time with the Cubs. I mean, he was a big contributor on the Cubs breaking their 108-year curse. He wasn't the biggest reason, but he was a big contributor. Then a couple of years later, he had a season where he was 2nd in the NL in MVP voting. There's a reason why Al Avila at the time made this move. Obviously, it wasn't a great move in a retrospect, but Javi Baez has had some damn good years in Major League Baseball. And right now, credit where credit's due. I didn't see it. I don't think most of us saw it. He's having a really good year. If the season ended today and he was named an All-Star, I wouldn't fight it. I'd be like, bravo, well done. One of the greatest comeback stories we've seen recently in Major League Baseball.
And then the will be complete. The Aura will, that is. the prodigal Aura son has returned, and that's one Javi Baez. That, to me, I am shocked to hear you said that. I thought it was going to be push button for Torque, give a pat on the head to Dingler, and we glaze still Javi Baez. But to be able to say,
all right, let me ask you
looking
this
at
question,
everything,
Mr. Kool-Aid.
I like it.
Who would you pick? I don't want to hear about everybody else. I want to hear what you got to say.
I feel like Spencer Torkelson, man. He's been that guy all season for the Detroit Tigers. I feel like Spencer Torkelson. I believe that Torque and Javi are both going to make it. That's me personally. But Spencer Torkelson is the guy that I would give the nod to this year.
I don't hate that at all because I'm overall very happy with the season that Spencer Torkelson is having, and I know everybody should be, for the record. His OPS actually is 800. However, I think in order for Spencer Torkelson to make it, he's got to get hot again. He's due. He's due for a hot streak, and shout out to him yesterday. He was really, really going through it, but he had a big leadoff walk in the 7th inning, which he eventually was driven home on Wenseal's go-ahead home run. Shout out to Wensiel Perez as well. And then he had a double in the 9th inning, I believe. It was the 9th inning that drove home Riley Green. Maybe Spencer Torkelson's getting out of it a bit, and if he gets hot, if he can add maybe 3 or 4 more torque bombs to his list this year, maybe he makes it, but he's got to get hot again.